Hello, and welcome back to the Stories of Northern Life podcast, brought to you by the Sault Ste. Marie Museum. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I bring you a very interesting episode where we are going to be interviewing one of our summer students. So today I had the pleasure of interviewing Jay. He is one of our summer students this year. He is or was doing a position on in our education department. Now he has sadly gone back to school, but I will let him tell you more about his story. So let's get into the interview.
My name is Jay Rector, and my pronouns are he, him.
And when and where were you born?
I was born in the Sioux. I was born in the old Plummer Hospital that they're tearing down right now, unfortunately.
And so growing up here as a kid, what was it like? How did you find the Sioux?
I don't know. It was really fun. There was a lot of, there's a few kids my age on my street. We lived next to a school. I don't know. It was just very like small town regular, I would say.
And like when you were young, did you have like dreams of the future? Like when I grow up, I want to be like, what was your dream?
I thought I wanted to be a psychologist, but that has to do with a lot of science and math. So I sort of pivoted to wanting to be an artist, and I've like been doing art my whole life.
Okay. And so, like, how did that sort of change over time with you deciding like you wanted to be an artist? Like, did you have like a certain type of art you wanted to do? Maybe careers you were thinking of doing? Maybe like teachers that were helping you along the way?
Well, I can't recommend Sheridan College enough. I went into like a 2-year no portfolio program, and I got to do basically like some of everything: 3D art, 2D art, computer art. I got to do life drawing, painting. I got to do basically everything that sort of like gave me a very well-rounded idea of like what I wanted to get into, if I wanted to do graphic design and all that kind of stuff. And I had a lot of really amazing, encouraging teachers at Sheridan too. Shout out DK, love him. I think my art really shifted because of like I had so many doors open. I had so much opportunity to like try out new things and experiment with my style and my mediums.
Okay. And so what are you doing right now for school?
I'm at OCAD for drawing and painting. I'm in my final year, so I'm excited to start my thesis this year and submit it for GradX, which like I'm excited to see everyone's work for GradX every year.
And now, with being an artist, do you want to, like once you graduate, like move back to the Sioux or sort of stay in Toronto, maybe where there's like a little bit of a bigger art scene?
It's always complicated because I do love the Sioux. I love being in nature and I love the people. But I also like the city because there's so much more to do, genuinely. And I don't know, there's a lot of like queer people my age that are more in Toronto. So there's like a little bit more community for younger people like me and like nightlife and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I also think there's a lot of like really interesting art that happens. Not to say that there isn't in the Sioux. It's just there's like it's very diverse for like the kinds of people that you get and meet. Lots of shows going on too, especially like done through OCAD. So I think I'd like to stay in Toronto at least for a little bit. My plan after I graduate OCAD is to try and get my master's in archival studies.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I might be getting ahead of the questions though.
That's okay. Yeah, so the next sort of one was going to be sort of why did you decide to apply to the museum?
My hobbies have so much to do with museum work. I love vintage clothing and garments, and before I worked at the museum in 2023, I had sort of just got into vintage clothing, wearing vintage clothing, and learning repairs and techniques and that kind of thing. And I also have like a huge hobby of like restoring like vintage Barbies is like one of my favorite things to do. And when I applied in 2023, that's kind of like the only experience I had was like just my own personal hobby of like wanting to learn more about vintage artifacts, clothing, and toys. And that sort of just like really brought me into like the museum.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so even though you've had sort of like that interest, did you ever sort of see yourself working in a museum, or had you ever really thought about working in a museum?
I had thought about working in a museum. I just sort of didn't have like an entryway into it. I always thought I wanted to do like curation and sort of like creating the little dioramas for all the artifacts to be in. But when I started doing archive work, I fell in love with that even more.
Yeah. So, in your first go around working here, like what projects were you working on? Like, what was your sort of maybe like day to day, like in the first time you were working here?
The first time I was working here, I was doing a lot of past perfect extensioning. So if you don't know, it's taking the original like museum cards that have the special numbers and the like hand drawing of the artifact with all of its like lumps and bumps and stuff, and inputting that into the computer, which is a little tedious and a little boring, but Will really gave me the freedom to sort of like explore the program and to look at all the other artifacts that were interesting. I did a lot of scanning of photographs, which was really interesting to learn because now I love scanning stuff. And one of my largest projects that I think I'm the proudest of is I reorganized the whole glass pottery room. So Will and Rick put up all of the shelving, and basically I just had to take all of the glassware from upstairs, move it downstairs, and then I got to organize it however I wanted and write all the accession down. And it was actually quite fun. I love organizing and stuff, and it was just like right up my alley.
Perfect. And then, so what were you working on this time?
This time my job title is education officer, which I think sounds very fancy. But really, I'm doing arts and crafts for the museum, paid for arts and crafts, which is pretty awesome. I started with the dinosaurs that used to be on the ceiling of the education room. So Heather was telling me that they were from a ROM exhibit from the late 80s, early 90s, and they had been on the ceiling since that exhibit, sort of becoming a fixture of the room. So it was my job to take them all apart, trace every single piece, cut them out, paper mache them for a little bit more like strength, and then spray paint them, glue them all together, and hopefully they're gonna go on the ceiling either today or tomorrow, which will be great. Another thing that I spent a lot of time doing was Heather wants to revamp the scavenger hunt. So I created about like 45 to 50 fish that are native to the Great Lakes and a few invasive species. And that was really fun to learn about fish because I really didn't know anything. So it was fun to like just take my time, do whatever I wanted, and just like paint. I could like knock out a fish about every hour, so it went by pretty fast.
Yes, and those fish will be part of our March break 2027 scavenger hunt, so stay tuned for that one. You said your favorite thing about working sort of the first time. What about this time?
This time is like, I'm kind of a nosy person and I love like going through all of the art supplies. I love looking through, there's about a million magazines. Heather told me that there were even more magazines before I showed up. I love looking through the magazines. I love looking at all of the paint on all of the artwork that's up around in the education room. There's tons of like stickers and stamps and scrapbooking materials, and I love just like going through it when I have some like time, or I'm trying to like what's the word? Sort of like I do like a walk around after I finish painting and stuff to sort of like reset. I'm always like looking through the art supplies.
And what did you like learn working here at the museum, sort of between your two postings?
There's so much. I mean, I learned so much about the Sioux. I remember the first time that I was leaving my job, that's like when I was going to OCAD for my first year there. I called Will because he wasn't there, and I was like thanking him for giving me this opportunity and for like helping me love my city more, because before I left for Toronto, I did not like the Sioux. I thought it sucked. I thought it was a boring place to come from. And through being at the museum and seeing like the amount of people that lived here, sort of thinking about their life stories, what they like, the Sioux's been around for so long, and there's such a rich history of people and like waves of immigration, and also doing like I organized Bon Sioux photos, and it was lovely to see like that through the years. It's just I just learned so much about the Sioux, and it made me really like love my city.
Yeah, that's good. Now, did you visit the museum sort of like as a kid, whether it was like with your family or school trips?
Yes, I think I only came once before. When I was pretty young, I came to the museum, and I do remember going through the Skylight Gallery, obviously, because that's like the most iconic gallery,
yeah,
in my opinion. And I walked through it this current time that I've been here, and my favorite part is always the girls' room. Like, so it goes the grocery shop, and then sort of like a kitchen, and then it's like a girl's room, and that is always my favorite. I love looking at all like the little beauty products and the hairbrushes and the shoes and her clothing laid out on her bed, and I just like love to imagine like the kind of life that she lived.
And now our last question sort of brings us back to what you're sort of almost getting to before, is like, do you think you'll look at working in museums in the future?
Absolutely, without a doubt, I would love to. During my time at OCAD, I've actually learned a lot more about like the history of museums through my different classes, and it's just like I can't see myself working anywhere else. I think this is like the perfect environment for me. Someone who loves history, who loves to organize, and just always, people that work in heritage are always the coolest. They're always like so kind, so easy to get along with. I would love to work at so many more museums, though I know that it's a little bit difficult for that right now, just with jobs and all that, but I would love to, absolutely love to.
Yeah. And then you were talking about doing a master's in sort of archival studies?
Yes, I'm considering applying to U of T and then TMU, and yeah, I just really found a love of archiving, taking care of people's possessions in like a very like in a very like intimate way. You know, you're caring for this object that's been with a person through their whole lifetime, that meant something to them, that is now like, it meant so much to them that it's in this museum for us to like take care of. And I think it's so beautiful. I have such a like a connection to objects that yeah, it's one of my favorite things about the museum. And even though I didn't get to work in archiving this time around, because we have lovely girls that are working there that are much more qualified than I am, I still love to like walk around the basement. And even this year I was helped by the archiving girls to find one of my favorite pieces, which is a combination compact and cigarette holder. We found it together, and we were talking so much about like what we wanted to do, what our favorite artifacts were, and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, I think I got off topic.
Oh no, it's okay, it's great. Now, speaking of artifacts and everything, we usually, for the last question, like to ask people if in 100 years the museum was ever to do an exhibit on you.
Oh.
What would the title of your exhibit be? Maybe a tagline, and then 3 artifacts that sort of best represent you.
That might be. I think Jay's junk would be great. I do definitely hoard a lot of vintage objects, and I think probably the 3 pieces that I would love the most to be in that exhibit would be the compact I was just talking about, the dual compact cigarette holder. Though it wasn't mine, it's something that I absolutely adore. I love vintage makeup. Second thing would be there is a porcelain vintage Barbie solo in the spotlight that's in one of the other rooms that I used to go visit and just stare at her. She's one of my favorites. And I don't know, for the last object, it would probably be like a piece of like vintage 60s, like a baby doll dress or like a little nightgown, because those are like one of my favorite things to collect. They're always like super soft nylon in like crazy neon colors, and I feel like those definitely best represent me.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Now, is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything else you wanted to talk about?
Visit your local museum. There's way more than you think, and there's like the kindest people that work there. Always go and always check it out.
And do you want anybody to follow you on your socials? Do you have any sort of like professional handles?
I do. I've been starting to post some of my current artwork, but I do have some old stuff from high school, unfortunately. But it's at Knockoff Bowie on Instagram.
Okay. All right. So you heard that. You gotta check Jay's stuff out on Instagram. All right. So thank you. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Did you know you can get unlimited admission to the Sault Ste. Marie Museum for a whole year for just $15? Yep, that's right, and there's more perks to that too. Go to Sault Museum, that's SAULT museum.ca, under Visit and learn more about our membership options. And if you're a business, corporate or nonprofit, we have plans for you too. Reach out to us by emailing info@saultmuseum.ca with any inquiries.